just that we're watching the insanity of this week, and we don't know how to digest it because a lot of these people. So if you don't know already, there are steal the vote rallies across the country, including the Capitol, and the Capitol itself was ram. I don't even know what to call this. It was a riot slash just insurrection into the Capitol. Um,
A coup.
and I think we're all digesting it. We're all
I
just digesting it right now.
Yeah, I call it a coup. I think, at this point, from what I'm hearing about people with zip ties and everything else and talking about hanging Pence and all that other crazy stuff, sounded like a coup to me, at least for some people's perspective. Maybe some of them went there with better intentions, but there were definitely some bad actors there. So, yeah, it's pretty bad, deaths and everything.
Five deaths in total. It actually might be sixth, a sixth one that I just saw in the
They said
last hour or
somebody
so. I went
somebody
on
said
Twitter.
they committed suicide. It was a police officer, I think. I'm not sure why he committed suicide. Maybe he was one of the ones taking the pictures. I don't want to talk on it without knowing the information, but I heard something from somewhere that it was a police officer or something that committed suicide afterwards. So I don't know. Either way,
Yep.
like all that stuff brought a lot of evil and bad things. These people are supposedly talking about respecting, the flag and all this other stuff. Then they do something like this. It's treasonous. It's horrible. I don't know.
Well, there's obviously no respect for the flag because they brought in a Confederate flag. And when
Yeah.
it comes down to that, we're talking about literally we went to war to never have that flag inside of that building.
Yeah.
So I think
That
it's for us. It's more of an intellectual argument too, because we're waiting for the government and the police to go after these people, which they are. There's a bunch of stories that we have here that they're finally going after all of them, and we won't individually say that because I don't think we should give them clout. We
yeah.
shouldn't give them any more air than they deserve. We know that there's the guy with the horns. We know the guy that sat at Nancy Pelosi's desk, the guy who stole the speaker. We know all of those things. So it's important that we don't dwell on the people themselves because then they'll just become famous.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just concerned of there's still time before the inauguration. I'm still concerned a little bit about what may or may not happen between now and then, or even afterwards. So like we shouldn't promote any of this as something positive. You know what I mean? Or at least give them, like you said, any clout or anything for, like mod. How do you say it? Modernize them, make them martyrs, martyrs.
Martyrs,
Like
yeah,
yeah,
martyrs, martyrdom.
yeah, yeah. I don't want to martyr
What's
them. Yeah,
interesting though is this is like actually an interesting argument, or not even an argument, but it's a discussion to start on. There are some people who see this, and they see this as a positive thing in general because what it is the last gasp of patriarchy, and it's showing the violence that is associated with it. So in some ways, it's not just entertainment to us, it's actually just indicating what is actually going on in society.
yeah,
So in some ways I kind of have started to believe that argument that in some ways this needed to happen. I don't know when it needed to happen. I don't know if this was not proper. It's still not proper. Five people died. We should always state that. But I feel like these people had it pent up inside of them for so long, and it's important that we indicate that it's really occurring, right?
yep, yep. A lot of hidden closet racists and like people that want, they want to keep their power. A lot of I don't want to. I guess I shouldn't be ashamed of saying white entitlement. They feel like they deserve the power here, and if you've noticed, majority of the people there, are, I don't want to, like I say, make a like a racial thing, but these specific white people, feel like they're losing something by, the Democratic Party taking over for whatever reason, and they're giving up to people of color, people of different sexualities and nationalities, and so on and so forth, because their party didn't accept them. They want that, their party that wants certain Like they think they're
They
patriot.
want
What is
certain values.
Yeah,
There's
they
very
want to.
specific values that they want.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny that they're confusing patriotism with nationalism. You know what I mean? At this point, this is they want to, like I said, keep their control and their power. And the sad thing is most of these people are very similar to Democrats. Like in my mind, we're all Democrats. We're all struggling. We're all like trying to get something better out of the government and everything else. But they look at it as we're Republicans. We're part of that clique, and that clique doesn't really have their best interest. You know what I mean? Which is, to me, it's kind of a sickness. I don't understand how they can't see that. I could easily see that the Republican Party doesn't have my best interest. I could see parts of the Democratic Party, which we'll talk about, I guess, later, doesn't have our best interest either. But at some point, people need to open up their eyes and see what's best for them, their family, their friends, their community, and everything else. And the Republican Party has proven to me that they do whatever is best for themselves. Like some of them are actually going against the party now, against Trump or whatever it is, because they're saying that it doesn't benefit them anymore after what just happened. If this never happened, they'd probably still be backing Trump and trying to do the stop the steal thing and so on and so forth. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I actually don't even I personally do not give them much praise. I think
Hmm.
it is cowardice to
Yep.
jump off the ship right before, like, you can see the beach. You can
Yep.
see the
Yep.
beach. You can swim out to it.
Yep. 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 That's the truth, man. That's the truth. It's sad, but what are you gonna do, right? You can't. These people are the ones in power. Hopefully, we'll primary some of these people, or they'll get kicked out or whatever, sooner than later. But yeah.
I mean, I guess since this isn't really in our discussion, the rest of our discussion, because we'll talk about more specifics of like the federal investigation. But
Mhm.
how do you feel about doing this impeachment that some of Ilhan Omar and a bunch of other people have specifically stated? Even Chris Christie has
Yeah.
stated he wants him to resign.
So some of it's a little too late. I just want him out of power because I don't want him having access to the nuclear weapons and all the other stuff that he has. This man's unstable. I don't want him to be able to be reelected again. But then at the same time, is that going to trigger his base? That's a scary thought too. Like like, oh look, now they're really stealing things. They stole the election. Now they're not even giving him a chance to come back. You know what I mean? That might trigger them even more. These people are unstable. You know what I mean? Like they can't, if they can't see the difference between what they've done. They complain about, like, I see memes about Kaepernick and what's happening here. They can't deal with somebody kneeling, but they could do this to the Capitol building. I mean, like, they have no grasp of reality, and it's pretty scary to think that and I can understand why some people might feel pissed if they feel a certain way, but this is not the way to handle it, and I don't think they're stable enough people that if they were to kick Trump out prior to his, the actual inauguration, I think it will just trigger more violence and everything else. It's just, this is scary, man. I don't know. I don't know what's best. I want him out. I don't want him to have access to anything else. But at the same time, I don't know what the reaction's going to be. I kind of sense that this might have happened. Like I kind of predicted something bad was going to happen. I didn't expect this to happen, but I figured there might be some violence and some people acting a fool or whatever it is. But at the same time, who the hell knows, man, with these people? I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think that it might trigger worse reactions? Do you think it's something that needs to be done, or?
I actually don't believe it matters if it's going to trigger a worse reaction, because I think they're already planning bullshit
Yeah.
for the 19th and the 20th
Hmm.
when the inauguration is going to happen. And that's what I'm thinking I'm more worried about, but I think that's already in the makings.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm troubled by that more than I am troubled by I just the actual inquiry to get him impeached is really just a way for him to not be able to run in 2024,
Yeah.
because you're not allowed to. You won't be able to run again if you're an impeached president.
Yeah.
Um, but it's true. It doesn't really matter. Mitch McConnell isn't going to bring this into. Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell are never going to bring this down to a vote within the time period that it matters.
I don't think
So
Pence.
it
I don't
almost
think Pence. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I don't think Pence is going to do anything either, because he values his life. I think he feels like if he does something, he's always going to be looking over his shoulders afterwards. They're already talking about lynching him, right? So it's like,
yeah.
if he did this, what are they going to feel like after that? So it's
Yeah.
scary, man. These people are scary. But I think there's more sane people out there. I think a lot of people saw it for what it was. But like I said, I always say this: 1% of this country is 3,280,000 people. You know what I mean? If 1%
You
of this
think it's
country is crazy,
1%?
yeah. If it's one
You think
percent,
it's 1%? I think it's almost 20%.
no, I'm just saying. Just imagine 1%. Like I just use that as an
Yeah.
example. That if it's anything more than 1%, like 1% is 3 million people, over 3 million people. You know what I mean? So that's 3 million crazy people running around doing God knows what, and I'm sure a huge percentage of them have guns and other stuff. But like I said, I hope they have some common sense, because even with Obama and everybody prior to that, we still seem to manage this fine. For some reason or another, Trump has brainwashed these people into being bat crap crazy. You know what I mean? Like these people are they think the media is bad. They think the government's bad. They think that Trump is their god. You know what I mean? It's just, some people think that this is necessary. For them to rebel, and in reality, we just want to get through COVID and go back to normalcy. Most people want to go back to normalcy, but I don't know. It is what it is, man.
I don't know what normalcy is. For me, I don't even know what normalcy could be at this point. But let's get
Yeah,
into the more specifics of
yeah.
the federal murder investigation for the Capitol Police officer that died. His name is Brian Sicknick. I'm not sure if you have the picture, that's the image that's there, and you want to
Um,
put that up.
yeah, yeah. Just 1 second. Sorry. I thought you were
No
gonna
worries.
pull it up. Let me see here. Yeah, Lord
Actually,
this.
you know what? Let me do it because what I can do is that if you
I
go
got
up
it.
to me,
I think I could. It's up to you. Do you want me to do that way? It's fine to you. Either way.
yeah, just send it to me real quick.
What? Oh, okay.
Because actually, what I wanted to play first is the insanity, a little bit of the insanity that happened here. Um, we can't really run the whole CNN, but you can see here. Look at all of this mayhem that's occurring in here,
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
and
just one little area. Look at how many people. You
it's
know what I mean?
inside. This is the more important start. Is the stuff inside here. I don't want to make it too big because, you know, it's CNN politics and it's their property there. But it's just important to note like all of the people that rushed in there and took that space. And I wanted to say that the prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office plan to open a federal murder investigation, specifically into Brian Sicknick, U.S. Capitol Police officer who died Thursday night. He's the fifth person and possibly the sixth, as we just said, to die in the siege at the Capitol building. Sicknick was injured Wednesday when a mob of President Donald Trump's supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, and he died at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. The investigation is being conducted jointly between the FBI, the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, and a cooperation with the U.S. Capitol Police. So I think we all know this is happening. There's more rallies actually that happened across the country as well. So yes, across country. In LA specifically, we have a story of a black woman who was assaulted walking past one of these rallies. So I just
Do you
want
want,
your opinion on
do you
things
want
at
me,
the moment.
do you want me to cut to that video first, or do you want to talk about it?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's cut to that video.
Okay.
I'm going to be able to go to my gym. And as a Catholic, I am
It's a
ashamed
lot of people.
for
A lot
capitulating
of people. That's what I mean by 1% thing.
It needs to end. The Catholic Church, 60
Get that camera out of here!
There she is.
60 million Catholics.
Don't touch him.
We could have stopped
Don't
this
touch
government
him.
response to the pandemic.
Don't touch him,
It's
lady.
shameful.
You just touched me, bro. You walked right into my bike. You did. You just rode me, bro. You stepped right into my bike.
No, I want her.
People just
She's allowed to
beefing,
assault
yo.
that guy? She just assaulted that
Are
guy.
you law enforcement?
You just assaulted that guy. Yo, what the shit off, bro. Get the fuck out. Don't fucking hit people. Get the fuck out. You're touching me. Get the fuck out. You're touching me. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Don't fucking hit people. Don't fucking hit people. Don't fuck with that. All lives matter. All lives matter. Don't touch her.
So all of these
I can't hear you too much. What did you say?
no, I'm just saying that all of these men are assaulting this woman. I mean, that's so relevant that it's a mob mentality that we're talking about. I mean, we can cut from there basically, but that's it's irate. It makes me irate because they've specifically. It doesn't matter if one person targeted her first. They they came around her and just surrounded her because they had power.
Yelling "All lives matter." You know, on top of all that, they're yelling "All lives matter," right? So you're hitting a woman saying "All lives matter," right? Okay.
On top of it, she was pepper sprayed apparently.
Yeah. These people are hypocrites, man. People are, you know. Oh man, you know it's like. Go ahead. No, I'm saying like you're right though. With the whole mob mentality.
I was gonna give. Oh, sorry about that. I was gonna give respect to her name. Her name is Berlinda Nibbo. She's only 25, and she was just walking past the Stop the Steal protest. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure that we know.
Is it like did they find out whether or not she did hit anybody? Because the guy said that they hit somebody. The other guy was. You saw the guy that the guy walked past the other guy. He was saying, "Oh, you bumped into me." But like they seemed like they all wanted to fight, man. Like they're all on like roid rage or something. You know, it was crazy.
So the stated report says that it was false that she attacked anyone, as from footage that they have. And even if she did, if she even bumped into somebody or something like that, you have no right to actually continue the fight.
Yeah.
If somebody is not actually trying to assault you, you have no right to stay there. That's one of the
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to know, like, I just want to know what factually happened or whatever, you know, or at least was, you know, allegedly happened, I guess, whatever. How you, like, I figured either way, it's like you got a whole mob of people. You don't need that many people to beat on a woman, right? So it's just, that's a shame, man. You know, and then, like I said, the All Lives Matter comment just put the icing on the cake, right? It's like, you care about all lives, but you're beating up a woman. You know, that's real, you know, sucker stuff, you know what I mean? That's what, dude's a sucker, you know. But it is what it is. That pisses me off, because if that was like somebody like my sister or anybody, I'd be super pissed right now. But
I mean, obviously, I'm pissed off for them as well, even though I don't know this person, because the idea too that this is Los Angeles, this is California, what we're talking about. So there's no place where people like us are safe, in a way. If we were to walk by in that same situation, especially if I were to, for instance, I might say something back to them after they called me the N-word. Yeah. That's just the truth.
You know, these people are so stupid, like thinking, "Oh, stop the steal." I was listening to somebody earlier today, and he made a good point about how, you know, supposedly these states that supposedly stole the election, a lot of them are the governors are Republicans, right? You know, there's a lot of people there that are actually running there that's Republican. So I mean, you would think of all people they would know, or they would fight hard to fix it, but these people are too stupid to put one and two together to decide, like, okay, you know, maybe we're assessing this the wrong way. You know, maybe something doesn't make sense. No, it's like, because Trump said it, That's, God said this is what happened, so that's what God said, so we got to go by our God. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy, man. These people, I sometimes think
I
that they obviously know that they could be wrong, like they're doing this purposely. You know what I mean? Like it's a like you said, more like a mob mentality type of thing. Like in order to get their way, they're just gonna say it to the point where it becomes truth, and that's crazy to have that type of mentality. Like that's what Trump's mentality is. It's like I'll say it over and over again till it becomes true, even though it might not ever be true. Just because he said it, and people don't, they do that with the news and a lot of other stuff like QAnon and all these other places. They'll retract it like after the fact that it's been put out there, and then the people believe it, and because so many people believe it, eventually they end up believing, okay, well, it's got to be true if all these people believe it, right? And then they just never go back to correct it. So it's just, I don't know.
Or if you do, honestly, if you make a correction and it's not within a day or two, it is going to fall to the wayside.
Yep.
And some corrections fall, and they will be in the back pages of a newspaper. So
Yep.
that is just the truth of corrections, is that if you don't get it right the first, and we live in a very fast-paced news society right now. So there's a lot of mistakes that are made, and corrections are corrections. I mean, it's good to do so, but
And a lot of people don't
how do
have
you,
the
how do you
I'll say a lot of people don't have the resources or the time to listen to it frequently enough to hear those corrections. Like some people live in the boondocks somewhere, and they'll hear something from somebody, and they'll feed off of that, and they'll never have like the means of like I keep saying, everywhere I drive, and not everywhere, but a lot of places in Jersey, it seems like the internet's down in a lot of places. Like they only have like certain news channels. A lot of people probably don't have that much, what is it, cable access or whatever it is. So they're listening to local news like Fox or whatever it is, and that's all they hear. And then they hear their family members or their mothers or whoever else that, or father who's right wing leaning, and they're just surrounded by all that. Like I've driven in areas of Jersey with Confederate flags, and a lot of all lives matter stuff and Trump flags, and it's scary, man. Like I don't know what to think in those areas. If I ever get pulled over by a police officer or something, I don't know the type of person I'm going to come across, and it's scary being a person of color. That you might think things, like you said, this is California. Do you think that place is safe? But obviously it's not. You got these crazy people, and like I don't think Democrats tend to go out there. I'm not saying that they don't wild out when there's a just cause. If somebody gets shot by a police officer, a lot of people compare this to, the stuff that happened at the Capitol to the riots that we've had because we were stressed out over police brutality and everything. There's a huge difference, and these people don't get it. They think that their way is the only way. And if they contradict their way, it doesn't matter. It was justified. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, I don't want to keep going at it. It's just this is just a lot of BS that
I just want to ask you more about how you feel. I don't know if you've seen this article. I put it in late. Clarence Thomas's wife supported the rioters. And said "Love MAGA" before the siege. Like she helped bust some people in apparently as well. So this is Gina Thomas, who is Clarence Thomas's, who is one of our Supreme Court justices. So just to understand where the state of
this was after the right. Oh, before. Okay.
Yes.
So do you think she actually supports it now after the fact? I mean, I saw a couple of people say it. Like I've seen like a lot of like
think
stories.
the idea that we allowed them to bring this idea that they stole the election, and that some weight was put behind it, and the president put weight behind that, is the real problem. Like Clarence, yes, Thomas's wife is an issue, and unfortunately, though, she's allowed to do so by herself. But there are some calls for Clarence Thomas to be impeached on that too. I disagree with that slightly, because if there's a legal difference, it's one of them and not the other. That's how it works. They're not one entity. But it is scary to think that one of the more conservative Supreme Court justices also has a wife who's promoting MAGA, promoting this idea that the election was stolen, and helping bring people into protests that might have violent causes. I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to talk about it because we don't even know. I don't think we know much about it. But Parler and all of them being shut down, that's interesting. You know, all of the social media sites for Donald Trump and some of the associated people being shut down. That's great, but it's late as hell, right?
Trump is you know, spewing the thing that it's going against his the freedom of speech stuff or whatever it is. So in reality, these are private companies. They have every right to do whatever the hell they want. You know what I mean? But for some reason or another, he thinks that it's a freedom of speech thing, and he's trying to get all this stuff, you know, because he wants to be able to have a voice. Because if he has a voice, he has power. You know, and I just, you know, in a way, like we talked about before, I hope that something happens that keeps him out of office. You know what I mean? But I don't know what's realistically going to happen, because I know that a lot of people are fearful. Look what he did to the Capitol. Like, his voice did that. You know what I mean? So he's a powerful person. I don't understand why. I think he's an a-hole, but, you know, a lot of people, you know, for some reason or another think he's amazing. And I think he's an idiot. I think everything he's done has been blatantly obvious. I don't understand why anybody else doesn't believe it. That's why I think some of this stuff is purposely done. They might seem like, oh yeah, you know, stop the steal, this, that, and whatever. I think a lot of these people know better, and they're doing it anyway. You know, a lot of those people there that raided the Capitol did it because they want, you know, some sort of change in government that benefits them or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but it's, you know, I'm sure you're smart enough, just like I think I'm smart enough to see through the BS. You know what I mean? Like this, to see like certain things go a certain way, and you'd be like, okay, that doesn't look right. There's got to be some sort of like hidden agenda, or these people should know better. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, at least 50% of those people at the Capitol knew better. I feel that deeply in my heart, that they're not just QAnon crazy people. I think some of them are. Well, a lot of them are, but I don't know. And I've said, like, all these rallies that they did and everything else, those are just breeding grounds for them to what is it, like, network and find more resources for them to do their dirt. You know, they all got to be shut down. I don't want to keep freedom of speech, you know, like ruin their freedom of speech. But if this is what the result is, that they're going to do treasonous stuff, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. It's endangering everybody.
Freedom of speech at that point. That's unfortunately it's what it's not. They have gone further than freedom of speech and have gone into breaking and entering. So we have that in mind. Like, they're different. There's differences. And also, like, we'll go back to the Black Lives Matter protesters too. There were some Black Lives Matters protesters who were angrier and rioted and literally broke stuff. But some of them were arrested and some of them were not. And you can feel a way about it, but at the same time, these people were angry about being killed, not angry over a loss.
And there were agitators there. I don't think that, you know, a lot of people are trying to blame Antifa and other stuff here. You know what I mean? The police were beating people. Like, there's plenty of footage of the police beating protesters when they weren't doing anything. Here, we've shown it, footage of people walking people in, taking photos with them. You know what I mean? Like, there's a huge difference. They look like ninjas. When Black Lives Matter's there, they look like rent-a-cops when these people were there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, it looked crazy, man. There's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. But go ahead. What do you want to? What's next? What do you want to talk about?
No. So honestly, do we want to talk about Manchin first, instead of talking about Iran? So let's. What other the topics for today? We didn't even go into it because I think that's the thing. This riot, or insurrection, has caused so much.
Coup. Say the word coup.
So much. I don't like coup, but I will at least say insurrection, because
some people went at the intention.
They're not smart enough.
Some people went in there thinking that way. They went in there with zip ties and everything. What were they going to do? Handcuff people? And God knows they had bombs and everything else. That these, I'm sorry, man. Some people went in
No,
there
that's
with
fair.
with the thing that, okay, we'll go in there, we'll make it worse than what it is. You know, that they think they're gonna go in there, bum rush and intimidate people. Well, some people actually went in there saying, okay, they'll keep going along with us and we'll take it even up a notch by kidnapping and hurting people. Like you said, they killed a cop, they killed a bunch of people. The stuff that they did was crazy, man. And I don't think most of the people there, I don't think a huge percentage of the people wanted that to happen. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody wants people to die that are innocent. You know what I mean? But there's a huge percentage of people aside from that I think went in there with the intent to just, you know, bum rush the thing and get, you know, do some wild out stuff over there. And I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect, but you know, cause and effect. They're arresting these people. That's what I'm happy about. Whoever they got photos of, they're going in and they're scooping them up, and I'm happy about
All
that
across
because
the country. There's actually
yep.
people who just found out that they're on no-fly lists right now because of this.
Wow.
So that's the video that I wanted to grab before, but it's like the last thing I saw. So somebody was irate because they're not allowed to fly at this point because they have a warrant for their arrest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody lost
Yep.
their life. Too bad for you, man. You know what I mean? People lost their lives because you wanted to be an idiot. You know what I mean? Because everybody that, like, if I were to go drive a car and somebody were to go hurt somebody, like, you know, murder somebody or rob a bank or whatever it is, I'd be considered an accomplice. You might not have done whatever you did. Maybe you don't deserve the same amount of time as the person that, you know, hurt or killed somebody. But anybody that went into that capital is an accomplice in my mind. You know, they all did dirt. You know, so, and that's how you would treat me.
I,
And you're lucky you didn't get shot at the door, because if I was there, I would have gotten shot at the door.